Hey everybody, I wanted to talk about what I in general see that separates people that are enjoying their retirement versus constantly worrying about money. And it's not the same for everybody, but this is the most common thing that I see really makes the biggest difference. So let's talk about it. Some people look at their retirement and they start thinking about, what gives me financial security, and they come up with some form of magic number, right? So I have to save this much before I go into retirement. Some people it's $10 million, some people it's $5 million. $1 million. Everybody's got a different number. Every article says it's got to be different. And every year somebody comes up and says it's a new number because of inflation. Some people use a calculation of 10 times their salary. And you think that's what's going to give you that financial security as you head off into retirement. And quite often, I've noticed that really the dollar amount that you have saved is not really the part of the equation that is the most important in terms of your feelings in retirement. Again, let's go after the psychology of finance on this. And I think it's pretty black and white for me watching all these people retire all over the United States and some outside of the United States. I have several clients that live abroad that honestly live out of their suitcase, enjoying their lives wherever they end up. But I also have those that have moved 1 year at a time and into different places. So it's kind of neat. I get to see a lot of different walks of life. I say 10 million. Well, somebody in, Wisconsin, 10 million's a lot of money, whereas somebody from New York, maybe that's not as much. So everybody has a different perspective, but it's really not the amount you've saved. So let's talk about what really is driving the financial happiness of a lot of people in retirement. And I'm talking about us normal people, not the billionaires out there. Look, let's talk about real life. The vast majority of us in retirement that are just trying to enjoy what we have. Well, the biggest problem with lump sums of money, our savings, is we don't know how long we're going to live. That creates insecurity, right? We don't know how much we can spend because we don't know how long we're going to live. We always have this constant worry about long-term care. Oh, I got to save my money because I'm going to have to worry about paying for long-term care. Not everybody worries about that, but a lot of people do. How will my investments perform? I've been in growth mode all my life, and I'm going to keep doing that in retirement, but now it's a moving number. Now, the last 15 years or so, it's just been going straight up, which is making retirement very easy for those that retired after 2008's crash. A little bit of a roller coaster through the pandemic, but in all reality, that year, you don't even see it because on that year, the stock market was up. So, how will my investment perform? Some people create their own insecurities in the stock market. How much will inflation will I occur? I'm like, I don't know how much this money's going to be worth 30 years from now, and honestly, you shouldn't. Now, worrying about it in your day to day and never spending anything and ruining your retirement because you're preserving everything for later, well, that may not be the right choice, but I see people do it. How much can I spend each year? All of these questions lead to the fact that you just really don't know. There's not an easy way to answer that question because you're trying to divide up a finite amount of money. And that's the difficulty with just hitting your magic number and thinking that's going to give you your financial security. It's a nice goal when you're in your working and wealth building years. I love it from that perspective. But then you actually transition into retirement and you start feeling these problems that occur. All right. So, what you're going to find very quickly is that your income is what provides security. Income doesn't care how long you live. And when I say income, I'm talking about Social Security and pension income, right? Or some of those guaranteed income annuities out there. Income pays for long-term care. Even people that have great income forget about that. Well, how am I going to pay for long-term care? You have 10,000 a month guaranteed income. Sure, the cost of long-term care is going to go up. Right now in Arizona, seven, $8,000 a month would pay for a decent long-term care facility, a very good long-term. My mother-in-law was in a great long-term care facility with full-blown Alzheimer's 24/7 care. And that was seven, 8,000. Well, it started at six and then it ended at about 8,000 a month. The reality is income keeps coming in whether you're in long-term care or not. And some people need to be reminded of that. And so that alleviates the need for saving all that saving. You might need some of it to supplement, but usually you own your house free and clear. And if you go into long-term care, you're not going to need that house anymore. You sell that, supplement your income with the proceeds from the house, and boom, you're good. Now, again, other parts of the country, it's more expensive. I get all that. But the reality is we need to be rooted in your world, in your situation. Income is always going to be more helpful than lump sum of money in that case. Income doesn't care how your investments perform. It takes away that anxiety. The more income you have, the more you can invest for growth, the less you care about turbulence in the stock market. You see how this helps the whole situation. The more income you have, the more comfortable and secure you're going to feel in retirement. Some income adjusts for inflation, which is nice, and we all laugh at that. Yeah, Social Security, sure, sure, gets eaten away by the raise in cost of Medicare. Well, at least Social Security gave you a raise and Medicare took it away from you. If Social Security didn't give you a raise, then Medicare costs would keep going up and erode your Social Security. So it does help. Some people's pensions raise with a cost of living adjustment as well. You can also comfortably spend all your income every month, right? That's nice. If you spend all your savings every month, you won't have any savings. These are all things that help us. The greater your income, the better we're going to feel in retirement. And that's important. So structure your retirement so your guaranteed income, Social Security, pension, income annuities, things like that, covers all your I need to pays, right? Need versus want. It's nice if your income covers your want to pays too, but at a base minimum, you need to make sure you're structuring this retirement. That's why, being out of debt, having no mortgage, being out of debt helps. It's less need for that income. But that base level is make sure that guaranteed income covers all those base living expenses. I call it survival retirement. So that way, in the back of your head, if all else fails, if I spend all my savings, I can survive. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. That's what you need to make sure that you're structuring your retirement as you're heading in so that your guaranteed income at least pays those need to pays, keeps the shelter over your head, pays for the base insurances that you have to have, the health insurance, the auto insurance, all those kinds of things, pays for those taxes, food, basic needs like internet and stuff like that. So make sure that you do that. And that's going to be a huge difference in your retirement. People that have been in retirement for a while mostly go, yep, that is something that really does help. It moves the needle. People that are more comfortable with a better income in retirement invest better. It's just true because if you're relying on the savings, you become much more conservative. And that holds you back a little bit, especially for the last 15 years. Risk on one for the last 15 years. Now, what do the next 15 years hold? We don't know. But the reality is you should be ready for good times and bad times, and it shouldn't change how you're enjoying your retirement. There's plenty of ways to handle that. But good income and enough income to pay your base living expenses because you can hear somebody makes $10,000 a month in retirement, but if you didn't know the situation, you might say, "Oh, that's great," and then find out they have 15,000 in bills and they rely on their savings to keep the lights on. That's a problem. So whatever your level of income expectations are, I know people in retirement making 3 grand a month and thoroughly enjoying their life because their expenses are more like 1,500 a month. They have little to no expenses. And so they just go live free and have fun. And their idea of fun is different. They go hiking and kayaking, and they love photography, so they hike and kayak and take pictures, and it's a neat little life. Some people have a low cost life that still enjoy it. Some people have a high cost life and still enjoy it. So everybody's a little different, and our expectations are different. And that's why this is flexible enough. This is a baseline, no matter where your wealth is. Okay. It's important that we see that. All right. I hope that helps. It's a good perspective for people to have as they're trying to figure out, am I ready to go off into retirement? Those magic numbers are great little goals, but your income and your bills really make a bigger difference than anything else. Set yourself up for success. If you know your income pays your base living expenses, that means all the money you saved is to enhance and enrich your retirement. Have fun with it. All right, like, subscribe, share, do all those wonderful things. We got new videos every week. The channel is filled with 300 plus videos and lots of wonderful stuff. You could search them. So keep coming back. We got new videos all the time. If you're looking for full education, we've got lots of wonderful full form education, different topics every month on our nonprofit website, fpfeaz.org. fpfeaz.org is the website to register for full hour-ish long classes. And we change the topic up every single month. All right, see you soon. Thanks again. Have a great one. Bye now.